If you take a look at the LCD projectors available on the market, you can see that you cannot expect any big miracles. Currently, the top category is around 1000 NC lumens in brightness. You have to make the best out of this, and the company called ETOE tried to do just that with their projector named Seal Pro. Stay with me and check out how it performed in the test. This will be a typical projector test from me, following the usual routine. First we'll do the unboxing, then go through the specifications, and finally share the experiences. I'll tell you what I think of this projector and how it was to use. Let's quickly start with the unboxing because we don't get too many accessories. We get the projector, a remote control, a cleaning cloth, and a manual. A cleaning cloth and a manual. Oh, and the external power supply, of course, so the project can operate. That's everything in the box, but we do not really need more. Other manufacturers usually include an HDMI cable, but we did not get one here. We may not even need it. So that's the unboxing done. And let's take a closer look at the device from the outside. As you can see, it looks like a small bag. It has a cute little handle. Since this is a projector named Seal, which means seal in Hungarian, the color is a bit like a seal skin with a grayish blue hue. I think it looks really nice. The quality of the plastics is good. The craftsmanship is good, and there's no issue with the assembly quality. The device itself isn't very complicated, since if you take a look on the front panel, you won't see much more than a single lens, a grill that vents hot air, and a sensor through which the projector will detect the projected image. When we turn it to the side, we find absolutely nothing there. On the other side, we do not find anything either. Then the back is a bit more interesting, but not by much, as this is where the air intake is located, and there is a row of connectors that generally matches the connector row found on most projectors. Power supply, USB, HDMI, infrared, and there's an AUX input, so that's about it. What's also interesting about the exterior is the top, as it has buttons that allow us to control the device without using the remote. There are not many options, just a power button and menu buttons. That is more than enough. What's also interesting is the base of the projector. Since on the bottom there are things I really cannot figure out what they are for, and I'm not sure whether these should be considered as a positive or a negative, whether I should view these things as positive or negative. First, there's a little door that can be opened, and there's nothing under the door. There's a grill here, which is likely an air intake grill. I thought that we'd probably find a filter here, an air filter, but there's nothing. So I don't really understand the purpose of this opening or why it's even here. Which is much more interesting is the thread in the middle of the base. As this is a standard thread and you can mount the projector on regular tripods with it, my concern is that the projector weighs almost 5 kilograms. And this small thread has to support those 5 kilograms, which I think is not very fortunate. If you want to tilt it back a bit, then the center of gravity is off. Just a little push of this stand. If this plastic breaks here, if this thread breaks, then it's the end of the projector. So I am not sure I would trust my projector. This little mount on the bottom is definitely good. If you have a small desktop tripod, you can place it on there and adjust the projector's tilt angle relatively easily. It's less likely to fall off there, and you can't push the table around as much as a taller tripod stand. So this mount is both good and bad. I am not sure if I would use it long term, definitely not. That's the exterior of the device. Let's take a look. Let's see what it can do. It offers quite a lot, with a native resolution, of course, of Full HD, just like all such projectors. The peak for these LCD projectors is now around 900 to 1100 ANSI. So this projector, with its 1000 ANSI rating, is regarded as quite good. So with its 1000 ANSI, this projector is an LCD. Another important spec is that it has 2 gigabytes of memory and 16 gigabytes of storage. This amount of memory is usually provided in 4K devices, TV boxes, and other similar equipment. It's only Full HD, so I really think the 2 gigabytes should be enough. Likewise, for a projector, the 16 gigabytes of storage should also suffice, as we're not going to install much on this device due to the software, but we'll get to that a bit later. So it has 2 gigabytes of memory, 16 gigabytes of storage, a Pro C GPU, and there is a 2 by 10 watt speaker, which sounds good. And additionally, it's worth mentioning the cooling system, which features 2 8-centimeter fans. A very important point related to the cooling system is that this projector has a completely sealed projection system, meaning that no dust or air can enter. Dust cannot get in and air cannot get in, meaning the projector is essentially maintenance-free. With this projector, there will never be a problem where the lens gets dusty on the inside and needs to be taken apart and cleaned, as the projection system is completely sealed, as is the cooling system. So it is maintenance-free. I mentioned the sensor at the beginning, right? It is used to automatically set keystone correction, automatically adjust the zoom, sharpness, and even the size of the image. So this projector is smart and efficient. It has good brightness and sound, at least according to the specs, but how does it actually sound? My limitations, for instance, compared to a DLP, which applies to all LCD projectors. The first and most important thing is that this projector, like all of its kind, will produce the best image when you project directly in front of the screen. So not from the right, not from the left, not from below, not from above, but directly in front. This is because in this case, there's no need for software adjustments to the size of the image, so the entire LCD panel is utilized. Distortion is reduced and more light passes through it. With these projectors, you can certainly adjust the image size, and there is the option to move it left or right, and then it can be set up software-wise to display correctly on the screen. But this means that the corners of the image can become blurry, and the colors may slightly distort. So it's not perfect, but as I said, this is typical for all LCD projectors, including this one. Yes, there are these flaws, but thankfully the situation isn't terrible, and the Seal Pro is among the better LCD projectors in this regard. So the image is nearly perfect, and the 1000 ANSI lumens certainly make a noticeable difference. The 1000 ANSI means that the details in dark scenes do not disappear, and if there is some HDR support, it already somewhat shows. That's a really good thing. It's needed. I definitely wouldn't buy a projector with less brightness or light output than this. The sound is comprised of 2 parts. First, there's the fan noise, and then there's the projector's own sound while watching movies. Fortunately, the fan noise. Although the Seal Pro is not among the quietest projectors, it is not overly loud, and it likely has very high quality fans because I do not hear any tiny whirring, rattling, tapping, or clicking sounds. A consistent whir of air comes out of it. This is really great because the sound of the projector, the speaker's sound, can easily drown this out. And while watching a movie, our brain also tunes out these extra noises, so when the screening starts, you almost won't hear the projector's sound at all. You almost won't hear it at all. And then there's the second sound, the projector sound itself. As I mentioned, it has 2 10-watt speakers, which initially seem quite good. Another good feature is that we have Dolby audio support. Just like with the picture settings, there are predefined audio profiles for sports, cinema, and various other things. I mentioned this because I was really surprised by the projector's sound in cinema mode. And the Seal Pro is the projector that so far reminds me the most of that cinematic sound, that cinematic effect that we can enjoy in a real theater that fills the space with dynamism, which is perfect for movies. A sound full of dynamics that is essential for movies. the Seal Pro can emulate or mimic this sound quite well. If you sit next to it, all you really need is a glass of cola and a bucket of popcorn, and you'll feel like you're in a movie theater. The picture quality is good for this, and the sound quality is positive. I should add that this is not a high fidelity sound. So do not expect an intense musical experience if you plan to listen to music on the Seal Pro. No, this is not what it's for. It's a projector, and we use it for projection. And since we're talking about projection and the projector itself, let's shift to the software. The software in this projector is an Android TV, which means it's a software optimized for a TV based on Android. Many people don't like it, while many do. Personally, I really like it, and I like it a lot because it's important. Many do not like it because it is basic. In this case, the basic means that with such an Android TV, you can reach the application you want to use, like Netflix, a game, or anything else, as easily and quickly as possible. And I think that with this type of operating system, it may be the easiest way. Another thing that's obviously very important is that the settings are easily accessible, and since this is an Android device and an international version, it can speak Hungarian, and every single setting is available in Hungarian as well. So even if you do not know English, you do not have to worry. You will manage with the settings. With the Seal Pro, it's important to note that you don't have to use the Android software settings, as it has a separate settings menu where we can access the settings much more easily. I definitely see this as a positive. As for the picture quality, as I mentioned, with an LCD projector, the image will never be perfect, and it's the same here with the Seal Pro. However, as I mentioned, the brightness, specifically the level of brightness, is really good, and because of this, the image quality is not an issue. Tendecia, I project onto a relatively cheap screen, which unfortunately lets through quite a bit of light, but even on this screen, the dark nighttime scenes are really enjoyable. And as for daytime scenes like a palm tree beach thing, it's just stunning. The colors are good, the contrast is good, so overall I don't think you'll have any issues with the picture, and I definitely won't either. So far we can say that almost everything is good because the image is good, the sound is good, and the software is good. Perhaps the only downside is that thing at the bottom that's not so great. And there's one more thing that is really not good. This issue is no other than the projection of the phone's display. It works. Especially with an Android, it naturally works because if both your phone and the projector run on Android, then there definitely won't be any issue with the image transmission between the two. If you want to play games with such a projector and have the software running on your phone, you can always expect a little delay. For example, if you move the phone, say in a car simulator, there will be a slight lag between your phone and the projector images, but you can usually live with it. With the Seal Pro, however, it's not about delay but stuttering. In other words, the frame rate changes in such a way that the image almost stops during projection and then speeds up as it continues, which makes it completely unsuitable for playing games from a phone. And I think this is quite a big problem. The competition, which is at a similar price point and has similar capabilities, manages this without issue. However, with the Seal Pro, there is currently a problem. When I first turned on the projector, it downloaded a software update, so there's hope that this will be fixed, but I cannot bet my life on it. There is one thing I haven't talked about yet, and I'll cover it now at the end, the remote control, which is still quite important. I want to mention two things about it. The first is that, fortunately, there are dedicated buttons on it, although not too many. You can access Prime Video, Netflix, and YouTube with dedicated buttons. There are also dedicated buttons for the settings menu, several actually, which is really great because you'll be able to reach the settings menu very quickly. The rest of the buttons are basically all for the menu, and there's also a little microphone button up here, which is for muting since the projector's Android system can be controlled by voice. And what definitely needs to be highlighted is that this remote control is both infrared and Bluetooth. I think I've mentioned pretty much everything about the projector, and what's left obviously is the price. This is important because as of now, there's a projector with capabilities that can compete with it, and that's the Wombo Mozart 1 Pro. The Wombo Mozart 1 Pro also runs Android TV software, so it has Widevine L1 certification there as well. And Full HD Netflix is also available, so in terms of capabilities, these two projectors are very, very close. The Wombo has a brightness of 900 ANSI, while it is 1000 ANSI on the other one. The Wombo has a subwoofer, making the sound a bit better there. What could be the deciding factor between the two is obviously the price. And in this case, at least at the time I am making this video, everything points in favor of the Seal Pro, because with a coupon, the Mozart 1 Pro is currently priced at 136,000 forints. With a coupon issued today, we can reduce the price of the Seal Pro to 120,000 forints, which is 16,000 forints less, meaning there is more than a 10% price difference between the two devices. This should definitely make you consider which device to choose. If you stick with it, I do not think you will be disappointed. So if you want a good projector with a few minor flaws, go ahead and get the Seal Pro. I think it will be perfect for a home theater. That's it for this video. Take care of yourselves, and I'll be back soon with another review. Subscribe to the channel because there are so few of you subscribed, and I have to keep begging here. Take care, and I'll be back soon. Bye. 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 Aqui